consecutive sellout at Soldier Field as the fans hope the Bears wrap up a playoff berth and hold their advantage in the divisional race against the Lions on a cold and windy afternoon in Chicago. And right now we have a -4 wind chill, and the wind is gusting up to 50 miles per hour. And when they announced the weather conditions moments ago, the fans cheered wildly, and why not? That's what you expect in December in Chicago. Hello again, everyone. I'm Dick Stockton along with Merlin Olsen. Second week of the year, the Bears beat the Bucs by only 1 point, but that was in Florida, and it was 80 degrees. Now, they play the Buccaneers in Bears weather. Keep in mind, Tampa Bay has never won a December game outdoors on the road. A tall order with these conditions, Merlin.
Dick, again today, we're finding out why they call this the Windy City, but I think that wind might be a bit of an equalizer. If it takes the passing out of this game today, remember the Bears are without Neil Anderson, and the one thing that these Bucs have been able to do over the past few weeks is run the football. Now, the other thing that happens in this kind of wind, a lot of turnovers, excitement on special teams, and turnovers are also a great equalizer.
Now, the Buccaneers have had a miserable year. They've won only 2 games. Vinny Testaverde coming off his best game of the season. Back spasms, did not make the trip, and so we have a lefty, Jeff Carlson, making his first NFL start at quarterback.
We talked to this youngster yesterday, bright, capable, and I think more than excited about this game. He said, hey, I've got nothing to lose out there. You never know how a quarterback change is going to affect the chemistry of a team. But, of course, when you've only won 2 games on the air, that effect might be a plus.
Well, we'll see what happens, because the Bears have won the toss, and they have decided to receive. They are not going to take the wind. Floyd Peters, who's going to send his defensive charges first against Mike Ditka's offense. The wind is swirling, but as we start the game, it is gusting basically right to left, as you see it on your screen. The Bears, who trying to get their offense on track, they scored 4 touchdowns last week in beating Green Bay, and Steve Christie gets set to kick off for Tampa Bay. Anthony Morgan and Dennis Gentry are back deep for the Bears. And the kick is sailing into the end zone, and the Bears will start from the 20. Now, the wind is swirling, and Christie got off a great kick. Jim Harbaugh, who has broken the passing attempt record of the Chicago Bears that stood for 10 years, will have an offensive front of Wojciechowski, Fontenot making his 5th straight start for Bortz, Hilgenberg, Thayer, Van Horn. The tight end is Keith Jennings. Mark Green and Brad Muster are the running backs. Neil Anderson, as Merlin mentioned, will sit it out again. Wendell Davis and Tom Waddle are the wide receivers. First play from the 20-yard line. In motion goes Jennings, the tight end. And on the first carry of the ball game, Mark Green gets about 4 yards. Defensively for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they've been slipping in recent weeks, Ray Seals, who's been activated after being out, with Gerald Nichols, Tim Newton, and Keith McCants. Up front, Kevin Murphy, Jesse Solomon, and Broderick Thomas. Saw him featured on the NFL Today. They're the linebackers. Ricky Reynolds and Carl Carter are the cornerbacks. And 2 rookies, Marty Carter and Tony Covington, are the safeties.
Bucs gave up 296 yards on the running game last week. You better believe the Bears will challenge them up the middle.
2nd down and 5. Here's Brad Muster going up the middle. And he is stopped short of a first down by about 2 yards. Gerald Nichols making the tackle for the Bucs.
A lot of concern. Floyd Peters had this defense playing very aggressively early in the year, but they have gotten as cold as this Chicago afternoon. They've slipped from 9th to 17th in the last 2 weeks defensively.
It'll be 3rd down and 1, and the Bears have converted 50% of their 3rd downs in 4 of the last 5 games, and that's helped them tremendously. And Harbaugh getting untracked after 2 rough outings prior to the Green Bay game. Third and 1, the pitch is to Muster. He's got the first down. Brad Muster gets to the 34-yard line. Kevin Murphy making the tackle for the Buccaneers in a gain of 6 yards. And boy, if they've missed Muster when he was out for those 5 games.
Not only missed his ball carrying ability, but also his blocking, and he is also the outlet pass receiver for Harbaugh. He's had trouble with both hamstrings. Started with his right hamstring. He had to go to the left. He's got both of them hurting now.
He has averaged 5 yards a carry. That's second in the league. And it's been rare that Muster and Neil Anderson have been in the backfield at the same time this season. First down for the Bears on their 34. Play action, and Harbaugh has a wide open Muster out of the backfield. He's got a first down and ridden out of bounds by Marty Carter. A good percentage play, getting that 20 yards for the Bears, and a first down in Tampa Bay territory.
Especially going into the wind, do not expect to see the long passes here today. This kind you can throw, the short dump off, and look how open Muster is. Kevin Murphy, the linebacker, very, very slow getting out to cover Brad Muster.
He has caught as many as 6 passes in a game. Versatile performer, as he mentioned. First down and 10 in Tampa Bay territory on the 46. And on the delay, the give is to Green. And Kevin Murphy is right there after a gain of 3 yards for Mark Green.
A 270-pound tight end, Keith Jennings, right there, number 85, will come in motion, and watch him trap on Broderick Thomas right here. Thomas driving inside, and Jennings just tried to push him in that direction. Pretty good play by the defense there.
Second down and 7. Jennings replacing James Thornton, who has an ankle injury, although he is suited up. The pitch is to Muster. He's got Green blocking in front of him, and a good gain for Brad Muster. And he may have another Bears first down close to the 35. Marty Carter was the first to reach him, and then the other rookie safety, Tony Covington, made the tackle. It is a Chicago first down.
This is really Brad Muster's kind of day. A flat-footed runner, has no trouble really keeping those cleats in the ground. Nice block by Mark Green up front right there to spring him. And Muster looks like at this point in the game that those hamstrings are not a problem for him.
Bears make it by the length of a football. Lately, the Bears have been a passing offensive team. But on a day like this, they could go more to the basic Bear style that Mike Ditka has always loved.
And in particular, as we mentioned again, into the wind, if they can score into the wind, they're going to have it at their back coming back in the second quarter.
Got to be the most clothes that Richard Williamson has worn this year on the Tampa Bay side.
80 degrees when they left home yesterday.
First down on the 36 of the Buccaneers. And the give is to Green. Dives up the middle. That's been the weak point for the Tampa Bay defense. Right up the middle, Gerald Nichols, former New York Jet, making the stop on Green.
Here is the middle of that line. And you've got to believe that the Bears are going to go all day in there. Gerald Nichols, number 77, is just not very big on the nose. Jay Hilgenberg, although, had trouble with him on that last play. Nichols able to get up underneath him on that last play. But Nichols did not match up last week. That's one of the reasons they had so much trouble.
Bears have held the ball for more than 5 minutes. They have a second down and 6 on the 32-yard line. And they give it to Muster, and this time Muster is stopped by Jesse Sullivan, the middle linebacker, and that will bring up a third down and short. Buccaneers playing without Dexter Manley, who was second on the team in quarterback sacks. As you know, announced his retirement at the end of the week. Very sad. He had undergone successful drug therapy treatment, was reinstated by Paul Tagliabue, the NFL commissioner, but had a relapse, and he decided to retire. Very sad, because one of the more likable people who ever played this game, and we hope his future works out. Ray Seals replaces him, and see the Bears play selection coming up on a 3rd and 3. And the give is to Mark Green, dives forward, and he's got Another Bears first down, playing ball control. He picked up 7 yards on that play, and it was Marty Carter on the tackle.
John Wojciechowski started the season as a backup, started at guard, and then has moved out to that left tackle position, the toughest position in that offensive line. Great block on Keith McCants by number 73, John Wojciechowski.
Wojciechowski is playing in place of Jimbo Covert, who's on injured reserve. This is the 10th play of the drive and a first down on the 22. Defense might have gotten back in time as Muster off the right side gets it inside the 20-yard line to about the 17. That's a 5-yard gain. Ray Seals on the tackle.
This has got to be a nightmare for Boyd Peters on the sideline. One of the people missed in that front line is Reuben Davis, the biggest of those defensive linemen. Injured, he's not in the ball game, and they have really missed his presence along the line of scrimmage. We may see some later of Gerald Grant. They picked him up. We might see him in the ball game for him.
He's in there now, Merlin.
Yep. All right.
Bears have had the ball for 7 minutes, and it's 2nd down and 5. Great ball control artistry, and Mark Green again goes up the middle inside the 15-yard line. And that will bring up 3rd and short. So Darrell Grant, who's 10-year veteran with the Washington Redskins, got the call, and here he is.
Well, they called him. He was in Fairfax, Virginia, said he was running a limo service and writing songs.
We have an injury. Tony Covington, the outstanding rookie strong safety, is shaken up, and so we'll have a timeout. .7:26 remaining in the first quarter. We'll be back. Who was knocked down and down for a while on a collision, walking off under his own power.
Let's look at what happened to Tony Covington right there on the right-hand edge of your screen, on the knees of Mark Green right there, and the knee right to the helmet. We're glad to see him up and walking.
William Frizzell, who started the year at that spot, replaces Covington. It will be 3rd down and 2 for the Bears on the Bucs 14. And here comes pressure at the line. Muster going outside. And Muster dives and may have the first down. Let's see where they spot the ball. As Tampa Bay was pursuing, Keith McCants knocked him out of bounds. Covington, the rookie from Virginia, being talked to on the bench. And it is a Bears first down.
This drive really has to be upsetting to the Tampa Bay Bucs. They're loading the line. They're bringing 8 up. And they're saying to the Bears, if you're going to beat us, you got to throw the football. The Bears are answering, oh, no, we're not going to throw the football. We're going to run it. And so far, they've been able to do that successfully.
And Mike Ditka says one thing we will do is throw it in the end zone in this game. He's got a chance here. 1st and 10 on the 11-yard line. Here is Muster, and he's tackled from behind. And it was Jesse Solomon, former Minnesota Viking, who came over in a trade from the New England Patriots in a pickup of only 2 yards. It's cold and it's windy here, although it is sunshiny here in Chicago. Many of the Buccaneers have never played in weather this cold.
Interesting to talk to them. Lawrence Dossie, for example, we asked him about the weather. He said, I've never played in anything under 40 degrees. I don't know what it's going to be like out there. Well, this is definitely under 40 degrees today.
Yep. 2nd down and 8. Here's Green. Good gain by Green as he gets inside the 5. Marty Carter making the tackle as the Bears have used more than 9 minutes of possession to start this game. A gain of 7 for Mark Green.
This is a Mike Ditka kind of drive. They were talking to Ditka last week about the fact that his team is setting passing records. He said, hey, if I'd have been calling the plays, we wouldn't be setting those records. Ditka loves his running game, and this has to get his blood pumping.
Only one pass thrown by the Bears on the drive. Floyd Peters trying to find the answer. 3rd down and 1 for Chicago. He'll be close to the first down as he gets to about the 1-yard line, and Harbaugh signals that it is indeed a Chicago first down. Kevin Murphy made the tackle. Peters brings out his goal line defense, and we're going to have a measurement here.
Perhaps an interesting decision for Mike Ditka if they are short. Do you go for it here, or do you kick the field goal? And of course, at that end of the field, remember, that's where the winds are swirling most dangerously. Kickers don't like to look at those goalposts down there.
He won't have that problem.
Well, he doesn't have to decide.
First and goal for the Bears at the 1-yard line. A remarkable job of ball control on the first series of this game. Ron Mattis is lining up as a tight end, and they bring Jennings, the other tight end, wide left. In motion is James Rouse, and the give and a touchdown, Brad Muster. Touchdown number 6 for Brad Muster rushing this season. And the Bears used up more than 10.5 minutes on the opening series. Kevin Butler, who missed his first extra point of the year last game, with Harbaugh holding to try to give the Bears a 7-0 lead. And the kick is no good. It is off to the right. So the Bears will have to be satisfied with a 6-0 lead over the Tampa Bay Bucks.
Driving in over the top of center, Jay Hilgenberg. Muster into the air and into the end zone, but a costly miss on the extra point.
Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Chevrolet, the heartbeat of America, the cars more people depend on. Magnavox, smart choices for smart people, the ingenious products from Magnavox. They're smart, very smart. And by Budweiser, with that clean, crisp, cold taste. Nothing beats a Bud.
Back at Bridget Soldier Field in Chicago, a 16-play drive, all of them but one on the ground. Brad Muster's touchdown, and 10.5 minutes, but the extra point was missed by Kevin Butler, and Chris Gardocki, who is their kickoff man, will kick it. They had to hold it because of the wind. It sails into the end zone. Gary Anderson at the goal line returns it to the 20-yard line, and Anderson is tackled by the shoe top. He might have had a lot more, and it was James Rouse on the stop after a return of 27 yards. So a debut as a starting quarterback for Jeff Carlson, who played his college football at Weber State. Up front, he's got Paul Gruber, Tom McHale, Tony Mayberry, Ian Beckles, Rob Taylor, who's been banged up, Ron Hall, a very fine tight end, Reggie Cobb and Robert Wilson are the running backs, with Mark Carrier and rookie Lawrence Dawsey the wide receivers. First down on the 27-yard line. And the clock did not run down. We have a whistle.
Dan is saying that Gruber moved before the snap.
That's Stan Kemp, our referee today.
Ball start, number 74 on the offense. Prior to the snap, it's still first down.
It's hard to tell exactly where the wind is going looking at the flags atop the goalpost, but the wind may be at the backs of the Buccaneers. Trace Armstrong, Steve McMichael, William Perry, and Richard Dent, the defensive line for the Bears. John Roper, Mike Singletary, and Jim Morrissey are the linebackers. Donnell Wolford and Lemuel Stinson, the cornerbacks. Mark Carrier and Sean Gale as safety. So now it's 1st and 15 for Tampa Bay on their 22. And the pitch is to Cobb. He doesn't get much, if anything. And the refrigerator came storming in. How much does he weigh about now, do you think?
Well, Mike Ditka says he's as big as he has ever seen him, and it's not a joking matter. The fridge at this size almost becomes a hazard to his own health. Well, I'll tell you this, if you can rent billboard space on the back of the fridge now, we can make a lot of money. He's about 360 and maybe even beyond that, Dick.
A lot heavier than he was in the New Orleans game, for example, when he made a great stop that turned the game defensively to the Bears earlier in the year. Second down and 15, no gain on that play. Carlson with his first pass is going to take off with it, and Carlson picks up about 8 yards. Singletary was the first to reach him, and then Jim Morrissey, and he picked up 11 when it was all done.
Carlson told us yesterday, I'm really not a runner. He said, when I move around, I'm usually looking for a little extra time. That's where the big plays come from. Got to believe that the Tampa Bay Bucs are going to simplify their game plan today. They know that the Bears defense is going to be testing this young rookie. They're going to be moving around, shifting their coverages, trying to get him to make the big mistake.
Willie Drury and Terry Anthony are in. 4 wide receivers, 3 to the top of your screen on 3rd and 4. And a bad snap out of the shotgun. And a loose ball, and the Bears may have it. Steve McMichael with the fumble recovery.
Tommy Mayberry discussing that snap, but I got to believe that swirling wind may have something to do with it. Watch the snap here. No, just a high snap. And Carlson unable to get his hands on it, and then compounds the problem by throwing it off to the side. McMichael, the opportunist, right there to take the ball.
Here it is sailing over Carlson. And even Vinny Testaverde would have had to go a bit high for that one. He's taller than Carlson, but now the Bears take over on the turnover on the Buccaneer 16-yard line, already leading 6-0. And Mark Green is going to be stopped cold in the backfield by Tim Newton, and a loss on that play of 4. Best Tampa Bay defensive play from the line in this first quarter.
Tim Newton right here, a big defensive play as he pops inside, gets a chance to bust right by Tom Thayer. Thayer hardly even got a shoulder on him on that play, and Newton, who's moved back and forth from nose tackle to what they call under tackle, was at the under tackle on that position.
Second down and 14 coming up for the Bears. Bears have trailed in 13 of their 14 games coming into this one, but they're in the lead and threatening again. And a play fake, and Harbaugh has to get rid of it in a hurry. And a hit off of a Buccaneer who, Jesse Solomon, I think, or was it Murphy, who didn't see the ball. It was right off of his shirt, but a good pass rush by Keith McCants on that play.
But let's take a quick look at that play. Harbaugh trying to get a little extra time. Little play action fake, and then rolls back against the grain. But they didn't fool the Bucs on that one. They see the ball hitting Kevin Murphy right in the stomach. McCants doing what he's been trained to do from that defensive end position. A linebacker in college is making the adjustment very handily.
Third down and 14. Anthony Morgan and Dennis Gentry are extra receivers. And Muster going outside, runs into his own man, Wojciechowski, and it was Seals, the first man to reach him, in Broderick Thomas. So the Tampa Bay's defense stiffens, and a loss of 5 yards will set up. Let's see if they go for the field goal now on 4th down.
Well, we talked earlier about the winds at this end of the field. You saw just a moment ago as Kevin Butler missed the extra point into the wind. I think not only do you have the winds, but you have the psychological impact of having to kick into that.
Well, they're not going to kick this. It doesn't appear.
Well, that tells you how bad the winds are down at that end of the field. No, they're not.
4th down and 19 on the 25 of Tampa Bay. Harbaugh chase. And fires it away. No flag is down. It was Broderick Thomas with 8 quarterback sacks to lead the team, putting the pressure on. And now the Buccaneers will take over on down.
Harbaugh lucky that he was not called for intentional grounding. Certainly did appear that he was simply throwing that away to avoid the sack.
Not often you see a team, and that shows you what the conditions mean, on 4th and 19 going for it with the lead in the red zone. So with 48 seconds remaining in the first quarter, the Buccaneers football lead. Tomorrow, the NFL Today begins at 12:30 Eastern, and virtually every game has playoff implications, especially the Cowboys and the Eagles in their rematch at Veterans Stadium. Lions, big game for them. Minnesota slim chances in the second game of our doubleheader. The Giants play the Redskins at RFK Stadium, and Phoenix is at Denver. First down on the 25-yard line for Tampa Bay, trailing the Bears 6-0. Carlson in the pocket gets a pass rush, but completes the pass to Dorsey, who's still on his feet. And Dorsey fights his way, and he may have the first down with that second effort.
We talk about second effort. Look at third and fourth effort from Lawrence Dorsey, a rookie who really came into this league and right away showed people the kind of style and the kind of courage that you want a wide receiver to have. Watch him here, break out of the tackle, get away from a second tackle, a third tackle, and finally pull down that first down.
Gain of 11. He's the most prolific rookie receiver in the NFL. And a first down on the 36, and the give is to Wilson, the fullback, and that will be the last play of the first quarter, as Wilson gains 3 yards and is stopped by William Perry. And that is the end of the first quarter here at Soldier Field in Chicago with the score. The Bears 6 and the Buccaneers nothing. Along with Merlin Olsen, this is Dick Stockton at Soldier Field in Chicago. We start the second quarter with the Bears leading 6-0. A win for the Bears sends them into postseason for the seventh time in 8 years. A win today and a Lion loss tomorrow. Bears are NFC Central champions. Second down and 7 on the Tampa Bay 39-yard line. Carlson has it intercepted by Richard Dent. And the Bears get another big turnover.
Some players just have a nose for the football, and Richard Dent is one of those players. Big smile from Dent, and Carlson will make the mistake of looking at his receiver all the way. Dent, coming from the left side, is stopped on the stunt right there, but sniffed that play and just leaped up and took it away from the receiver.
7th career interception for Richard Dent. And it'll be a first down on the 35-yard line for the Bears. Buccaneers stopped the Bears the last time they turned it over. See what happens here as Mark Green dives inside the 30-yard line and picks up 6 yards on first down. Tim Newton making the tackle for the Buccaneers.
Last week, Mike Ditka had a very serious conversation with Butler about his concentration, his missed extra point. I think this may be a continuation of that conversation.
We've seen Mike Ditka have some discussions with Richard Dent on the Thanksgiving Day game when Dent was arguing with the officials. And we have another Tampa Bay player shaken up. And this looks to be Tim Newton. Now, earlier we saw Tony Covington shaken up, and the rookie safety will not return. He suffered a concussion. Now another Buccaneer is down.
The Black & Decker Air Station.
Safety making the tackle.
Gerald Grant obviously has not been in very good shape, not been keeping himself in shape, is carrying probably about an extra 15 or 20 pounds. Doesn't look to have been working out. He is not prepared to go in and play on every down. So if Newton does not get back into this game, I would think the Bucs are going to have trouble later on because of the fact that Gerald Grant simply won't be able to keep the pace. Just not in shape to do it.
It'll be third down and 1. On the 26th of Tampa Bay, Bears lead 6-0.
Gerald Grant didn't know where to go on that one.
Here comes the blitz, and Green is going to be stopped cold. And the Buccaneers fill the gaps, and Darrell Grant making the tackle. And a loss of 1 yard.
McCants on the outside. Going to get around Wojciechowski right there. But there's Darrell Grant. Had trouble finding the place to line up. When he did find the spot, he not only found the spot, but he found the ball carrier as well. I think he confused the blocking assignments. He was in 3 different places before he finally settled down.
It'll be 4th down and 2. Last time, a 4th and 19 going the other way. The Bears did not kick. They didn't punt or try the field goal. And with 2 yards to go, they rush up to the line. And a play fake. Harbaugh nearly got caught, and he'll run for the first down. Jesse Solomon nearly nailed Harbaugh for a loss, but he got away and gets 10 yards and a Bear first down inside the 20.
Number 55, Solomon, right there on the heels of Harbaugh, but Harbaugh's strength, and that's something he has, is a lot of strength and ability to run the football. He pulled it back and heads upfield to get the first down. Big play from Jim Harbaugh.
Making his 15th start of the year, and you have to go back to 1981 when Vince Evans started every game at quarterback for the Bears. And a first down on the 18 of Tampa Bay. Muster with an inside run and gets inside the 15-yard line, a pickup of 4. Richard Williamson in his first full year as head coach. Last year didn't know if he would be the head coach for a full year. There were a lot of rumors, and the rumors are abound again as to whether he will survive down in Tampa.
Well, he's got to... Well, he told us yesterday. He's got to be concerned. He told us yesterday they've been looking over my shoulder. The press has been looking over my shoulder all year long. In fact, he said, I stopped reading the papers about 9 weeks ago, and I stopped watching television sports. I'm sure it's been a very difficult and trying season for him.
2nd down and 6. Tim Newton is back in the lineup for the Buccaneers, a defensive tackle. The pitch is to Green with Muster blocking. And Green is hit by Broderick Thomas after a pickup of 3 yards.
Seeing Muster run to the outside, to the left like that, you realize that that's what Neil Anderson does better than anyone in the NFL, I think, is sprint to that sideline. And of course, Anderson, who's not on the field today, is in pretty good shape. The concern was that he has kept himself on the field and on the roster when he wasn't at 100%. And I think Mike Ditka finally said, look, we've got to have you for the playoffs. We've got to have you at 100%. We're going to hold you out of this ball game today.
3rd down and 3. Ball is at the 11. And here comes Green, and he dives inside the 5. Great fake by Harbaugh. And a first down, a pickup of 8 to Carl Carter from the secondary.
One of the things that Brad Muster does so well is block. Number 25. Here he comes on this play. Kevin Murphy, number 59, takes him down, and Green's running through a huge hole. Of course, we've got to point out again that it's Tim Newton who's gone to the sideline, adding even more problems for this defense for Tampa Bay.
Brad Muster shaken up. Keep in mind he has missed 5 games with 2 different hamstring pulls. He had a strained back that bothered him last week that might have affected his hamstring, and Darren Lewis has replaced him in the lineup. So it'll be 1st and goal for the Bears on the 2, but Muster, shaken up, is out of the game. And the give is to Lewis, and he gets nothing. It'll be 2nd down and goal. Making the tackle was McCann.
Lewis, a rookie, was a tailback in college, Texas A&M, but they've moved him to a fullback, and he's learning how to block. That's something you don't do much of if you're a tailback.
Lewis will go out of the game, and the cheers are for Brad Muster, who comes back in. 25 of the 28 plays run by the Bears have been running plays in this first half.
One of the reasons you worry about rookies is the fact they have a little bit of dropsy. He dropped that one right on the ground, but look who gets it. That'll keep you out of Mike Ditka's doghouse.
And the Bears are going to call a timeout. And the first timeout for the Bears. Harbaugh looks to be upset. 5 of the 29 plays by the Bears have been run in Buccaneer territory. And here comes another one. And the give Davis to Green, a straight-ahead touchdown, Bears. And another Buccaneers on the turf. 12-0 Chicago. Muster scored on a 1-yard plunge in the first quarter.
Right over the top of Jay Hilgenberg in the center and Jerry Fontenot. There's Hilgenberg. There, number 57, right there. Ooh, another bobble on the handoff. That's twice that ball has been bobbled the last two plays. But Green finding a huge hole, and more in this season, they're running to the right behind Van Horn and Tom Thayer. Used to be the muscle on this line with Mark Bortz and Jimbo Covert. Now they're heading back the other way.
Broderick Thomas is heading off the field. He was shaken up. The Buccaneers have already lost their starting strong safety, Tony Covington, with a concussion. He's out for the rest of the game. Tim Newton was shaken up, and now Broderick Thomas, as Kevin Butler, who missed his first extra point in the other direction, will try to give the Bears a 13-0 lead. Harbaugh the holder.
With two kickers on this team, Kevin Butler better make sure he doesn't miss too many more extra points, I'll tell you that. Otherwise, Gardocki is going to have the responsibility, and he'll be out.
Butler, by the way, needs one extra point to surpass Bob Thomas as the all-time Bears leader in that category. That's if he hits this one, and this kick is good. Barely made it inside the left upright, but it's success for Kevin Butler, and it's 13-0 in favor of the Bears. Basketball, the defending national champion Duke Blue Devils with Christian Laettner as their key and Bobby Hurley in the backcourt against the Michigan Wolverines, and they have a talented trio of freshmen. Coming up next on CBS Sports, NCAA basketball. Brad Muster has a hip pointer, and the word from the sidelines is he may not return as Chris Gardocki prepares to kick off end over end, and it'll be fielded by Gary Anderson of the Buccaneers. He's a threat, and head down, powers his way out to the 34-yard line where Mark Carrier makes the tackle, and a good return of 28 yards for Anderson. Jeff Carlson, who was drafted by the Rams in '89 in the 4th round and didn't last with them. He was happy, though, because he moved home with his parents, and his mom works as a legal secretary in Garden Grove, California. Called his parents yesterday when the word was official that he was going to start. They're trying to stay cool, and so is he inside. First down, and to give it to Cobb. Tampa Bay trying to get the running game going, and Cobb picks up about 6 yards on the play. Making the tackle for the Bears, Mike Singletary, with help from Richard Dent.
Reggie Cobb has really taken over the responsibility in this backfield. Anderson had been the big ball carrier earlier, but they've given it to Cobb, and Cobb feels that he gets stronger as he carries the ball more, and I think those numbers would certainly back that up. I asked him just before the game, how many times would you like to get the ball today? And he said 30. I know. Hey, the way the Bears have taken over the ball today, he's not going to get it 10 times.
Second down and 4 on the 40-yard line of the Buccaneers. This time Cobb spins his way for a couple, and that will bring up 3rd and short after a gain of 2 yards. This has been a penalty-free game so far. The Bears with a huge edge in time of possession, and they had 10.5 minutes of that on the opening drive of the game.
That is almost unreal. And of course, it's no wonder that the scoreboard reflects what it does right now. Tampa Bay simply unable to do anything, and the Bears not giving them a chance. There's a little of that girth we talked about on the Fridge. Fridge kind of trots off the field now, but he is still amazingly quick in that short range on the line of scrimmage.
3rd down and 2. James Williams is in defensive tackle. Number 71. The give is to Wilson, the fullback. He finds the opening and dives for the first down into Bears territory. Mark Carrier makes the tackle, and a gain of 11 for a good-looking fullback, Robert Wilson, a rookie from Texas A&M.
You know, it's always good to see those youngsters perform. Watch the little draw play. Carlson back, left-handed fake, and of course, That's one of the things that bothers people a little bit. Left-handed quarterback as he heads back. You wouldn't expect the right-hander to go back in that direction. Mayberry had a fine block. The center, Tony Mayberry, springing him for that play.
First down for the Buccaneers on the Bears 47. Trailing Chicago 13-0. 6.5 to play in the first half. The pitch is to Cobb, and he gets tripped up in the backfield. John Roper tripped him up and a loss of 5 yards.
John Roper, number 55, top of your screen, has just had an outstanding year. Right through the block in that situation by Robert Wilson to make the play.
Roper has been banged up. Third on the team in quarterback sacks. Good-looking linebacker. Another one, Dante Jones, has not had much of a chance with Mike Singletary hanging in there and having a good year as the veteran. Second down and 14 for Jeff Carlson. Back to midfield. Got some time, and that breaks down, and Roper gets the sack from behind. And a loss of 5.
Same number, same result. He ends up on the top of the quarterback in this situation. You just don't have that much time, Jeff. You got to make a decision and get the ball out of there. Pass is not there, throw it away. Otherwise, you're going to end up on the ground.
Buccaneers coming into the game second in the NFL in a quarterback sacks allowed, and Cobb, you saw, could not keep Roper away. And that will bring up a third down and 19. Back on the Buccaneers 45. Carlson in trouble again, and Richard Dent finds him. Carlson with a few words for his offensive line, but a loss that time of 10 yards. Dent with the sack. He already has an interception. And it's fourth down.
Vince Tobin told us yesterday, it's not automatic to blitz a young quarterback. He said we may just rush him with 4 and let him be confused at the secondary. Drop everybody else.
Well, Merlin, we've got our first punt coming up here. Mark Royals will be kicking. Anthony Morgan is the deep man. Waddle is the short man. Not a bad kick. It's a good kick. Although it's a low-line drive kick, and Morgan, after a bobble, he's got good speed, and the Buccaneers covering nicely. He's down after an 11-yard return, and making the tackle was Sam Anno. 13-0 Chicago. Merlin Olsen. Bears scored on their first possession of the game, and then Richard Dent intercepted a pass. And the Bears capitalized with Mark Green scoring from 2 yards out. One extra point missed, and it's 13-0. First down Bears on their 25. Darren Lewis and Mark Green are the running backs. Harbaugh to pass on first down, and it's incomplete. It was intended for Tom Waddle, and a good play by Carl Carter.
Carter is the cornerback that people have been picking on over the past few weeks. And he's got to be pleased to come out and reject the first one they've thrown at him today.
They've had a lot of trouble at the right cornerback position. They've tried many players in that spot. Carter, who came over from the Cincinnati Bengals, in there now.
Carter's done a lot of traveling. But they feel he has the talent to stabilize that position, but he's going to have to prove that to opponents because they've been really tearing him up.
Bears have rushed 26 times, passed 4. They have a second down and 10 on the 25. This time the handoff is to Dennis Gentry, who lined up in the backfield, and Gentry gets 12 yards and a first down. Very versatile performer, has been a kick returner.
Jay Hilgenberg, 63, had surgery on his left elbow this last year. Able to button his collar for the first time. You see that powerful shot with the left arm. He could not have done that last year. Took care of 2 people on that play to spring room for Dennis Gentry to come up the middle. I'll tell you, not only a great leader, a fierce competitor. He's been the anchor of this offensive line.
Gentry is the lone back. Jennings in motion on 1st and 10. The pitch is to Gentry. And he is tripped up by Ray Seals, who was out for 7 weeks with an ankle injury. A loss of 2 yards on that play as we wind down to less than 3.5 minutes remaining in the first half.
Interesting to see Gentry back in the backfield. It was Gentry really that kind of pioneered what we now call the Dave Meggett position. I mean, it's that young back, or that quick back out of the backfield, who's also a great pass receiver. And Gentry was used in that way before anyone was using that kind of back.
Well, Brad Muster started the game, and he had to come out with a hip pointer. Neil Anderson is sidelined for the 2nd straight game with a hamstring pull, so the starters are out of action for the Bears. They lead those 13-0 and 2nd down and 12 on their 36. And here's a reverse to Gentry with Harbaugh blocking as best he can. He does a good job. And Frizzell rides him out of bounds after a gain of 5. Little razzle-dazzle by the Bears here in the waning moments of this first half.
Jim Harbaugh is a fine athlete and a fierce competitor. Watch Harbaugh. Just going to get the little handoff here, and then he's going to come back around and get a block on the offside here. But watch Harbaugh in action. Hands the ball off. Gentry will come sweeping back from the other side. Here's Harbaugh right there on McCants. Right into McCants' legs. That's a pretty darn good block. I like that.
3rd down and 7. 4 wide receivers as Morgan and Gentry are split. Harbaugh has a lot of time. Receivers are covered. And he's finally sacked by Broderick Thomas. And a penalty marker is down. I believe that's our first flag of the game. A loss of 9 yards. That'll set the Bears back.
I didn't see it. Well,
that's a face mask against the Buccaneers. That's what teams that are 2-12 do. That's the 2nd penalty of the game, but this one will hurt Tampa Bay.
5-yard face mask on the defense, on the tackle. The 5-yard penalty must at least get the ball back to the line of scrimmage. The ball will be returned to the line of scrimmage. Repeat 3rd down.
Let's see if we can see the face mask. There it is, as Thomas reaching in with that left hand. Looked like he might have had the mask with his right hand as well.
Well, the Bears were upset at Broderick Thomas the way he has mouthed off in recent games. Mike Ditka made a point of that. We have our 2-minute warning here at Soldier Field. So a 5-yard penalty marched off and will return.
Bama battles Colorado, the Blockbuster Bowl. Hidden Valley Ranch of Thousand Oaks. Are you waiting longer for calls to connect?
We got a mammoth day of football tomorrow. It all begins with the NFL today at 12:30 Eastern. And just about every game has playoff implications. None more important than the Cowboys and the Eagles. Both teams alive in the wild card race. The winner of tomorrow's game will advance to the playoffs if the 49ers lose later today to the Kansas City Chiefs. The Eagles swamped the Cowboys and sacked Troy Aikman 11 times in their first meeting.
We remember that game.
That's right.
Aikman looked like he'd been in shell shock after that game.
3rd down and 7, and Harbaugh's pass is caught by Morgan, and not letting him get away is Roger Jones, a nickel back, and a gain of 9 yards. They needed 7. It'll be enough for a Bear first down. Let's see where they spot it. Now, penalty marker is down as well. It is a first down pending the flag. And the penalty is against Tampa Bay as well, so they'll march off some more yardage.
This looks like old-time Bear football. Bears throwing only when they have to throw today, but Harbaugh throwing effectively on that last down. Of course, has the wind behind him, so it's a little easier to get that ball in the air.
Illegal hand, number 27 on the defense. That penalty is declined. First down.
Darrell Fullington with the penalty, but they had enough for the first down just shy of midfield. Bears have 2 timeouts. They used one earlier. It'll be a first down on their 49. 4 wide receivers for Harbaugh, and he's letting it go. Waddle downfield, and it's tipped away. by Carl Carter on an outstanding defensive play. Crowd wanted a flag, but Carter was right with Waddle all the way.
You had a sense of the wind on this play, too. It looked like Waddle is having trouble judging this football. Watch him change his speeds a couple of times there. And Carter able to be right there as that ball arrived. Well, I tell you, that's good timing. I think in slow motion, you actually could have called a penalty on that play.
Unfortunately, the officials don't see it that way.
No, they see it at full speed.
2nd down and 10. And they give us to Mark Green up the middle. Looks like the Buccaneers trying to get at the ball. Ray Seals making the tackle, a gain of 4 yards. Bears, after 2 miserable games against Miami and Detroit, finally broke out offensively last week. They're playing ball control successfully today. 3rd down and 6. Harbaugh in the pocket. He gets away again. And he may be shy of the 1st down here.
Interesting choice for Mike Ditka, who has decided not to kick on a number of occasions. Bears 111. What is he going to do here?
Well, they're going to have a timeout to discuss it. Bears call their 2nd timeout of the 1st half with 4th down coming up. Bears have 1 timeout left. They face a 4th down and 1 on the 42-yard line of Tampa Bay. You know, the Buccaneers defeated the Detroit Lions, and that is the difference between the fact that the Bears have the tie-breaking edge over the Lions for the NFC Central title. They're even 10-4, and now they send in Maury Buford, their kicker, at the last minute to punt this ball away on 4th down.
They were trying to get a penalty for too many men on the field, and they almost got that snap off.
Well, Tampa Bay now calls a timeout because they weren't ready, although Willie Drury was deep in punt formation, but they quickly called a timeout, and you may have been right. They might have had more than enough.
I think what they were trying to do is quickly change teams and then snap the football to get the 5-yard penalty, which would have given them the 1st down. But the Bucs were smart enough to hold up the tee and say, timeout here.
Now they can get settled. Buford is still on the field to kick the ball away. Richard Williamson getting an explanation.
Well, I think he may be asking, can you do that? I think Ditka's within his rights on that one. Steve Kaiser, the special teams coach, said, hey, let's try this. Okay, we'll give it a chance.
Tampa Bay has 2 timeouts remaining. This is the 1st punt of the game upcoming for Buford. Willie Drury is back deep. 13-0 in favor of the Bears. Buford, it's a low kick that bounces, and Tampa Bay will let it drop, and it does at the 15-yard line, where it's down by the Bears. Well, coming up on the NFL Today Dockers halftime report. Join Greg and Terry for an update from Philadelphia as the Eagles get set to meet Dallas in a crucial NFC matchup tomorrow. Now, 49ers lose later today against Kansas City. The winner of that game is in the playoffs. And after our game, don't forget Duke Blue Devils against the Michigan Wolverines. Mike Krzyzewski has another powerhouse, defending national champion, from Chrysler Arena in Ann Arbor coming up next. Jeff Carlson hasn't had much activity.
He hasn't had many shots, and what he has had have been difficult. He hasn't done much.
Cobb on the handoff, trying to go outside, and he carries John Roper a couple of yards, and another penalty marker is thrown. Tampa Bay has only 2 first downs in this first half. The Bears have 12.
When you look in the dictionary under possession football, you see a picture of this game. The Bears have done it.
Face mask call against the Bears. Mike Ditka winning his 100th game.
Face mask, 15 yards, number 55.
That was Roper on the tackle.
Defense, automatic first down.
He'll mark off 15 yards, but Mike Ditka now working on his second 100. I don't know if he'll get that far in regular season. So 100 wins in 10 years. Pretty good.
Number 55 right here chasing from the inside, and you see the mask being used in the tackle. That's where they get the 15 yards. The head jerked down. They pulled him to the ground.
And a first down on the Buccaneers 35 with under a minute to play. Here's Reggie Cobb, and the refrigerator, playing in his kind of weather, gets him from behind.
We talked about how quickly William Perry can move inside. With all of that bulk, watch number 72 slide to the outside here and just stop everything on the line of scrimmage. Takes on 2 blockers right there, gets rid of them quickly, and then wraps up. Hey, he looks around. Anybody else want to get in this hug? He could have taken down another one if he wanted to.
Tampa Bay is in no hurry with the clock running. 18 seconds to go in the half. Second down and 9. Carlson goes up top, and it's intercepted. Lemuel Stinson down the sideline. Out of bounds with 9 seconds to go. He went out of bounds at the 24. And that's the 3rd turnover of the game by the Buccaneers. Stinson leading the club now with 4 interceptions this year.
There's no way to tell how the wind affected this ball, but this is a horrible pass. A lofted ball that simply drops out of the sky into Stinson's hands. He almost had to fair catch that one. It was up so long.
28-yard return for Stinson. So the Bears have another chance for points. They have 1 timeout. Now they've used their last timeout. Or do they still have 1 remaining? They took advantage of an interception by Richard Dent to score their 2nd touchdown. Let's see if they get some points on another turnover.
One of the things they said they wanted to do is take some shots at the end zone when they were out around the 20-yard line. Let's see if they go for it right here.
They're on the 23 of Tampa Bay. Harbaugh looking to the end zone, and his pass is off the hands of Waddle, and he was covered once again by Carl Carter, who's done a fine job. Carter was the man the Bears were going to, but he's been equal to the task.
Well, they wanted to pick on him, and he certainly has answered. Question there was where they were going to work it down, get a little closer for the field goal. No, they went for the touchdown. Now they'll have to take the shot at the field goal.
Kevin Butler, who missed an extra point. This will be a 42-yard attempt with Harbaugh the holder. Now they're saying it's from 41 yards out. And it's low, won't be close as the half ends. Butler misses the field goal attempt. And that is the end of the first half with the score, the Chicago Bears 13 and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That time of 4 yards and the 3rd sack of the game by the Bears.
A late shift by the Bears, and Armstrong just shot through inside. Gets the hand. Watch him. He'll come from the left-hand side of your screen. A little fake upfield, and then right across McMichael's heels. He gets there to force the ball down, but Dent gets the baggie on the backside.
Merlin, you brought this up. Have you ever seen a game in which one team has thoroughly dominated the play, yet it is only 13-0?
I don't think I've ever seen a game where one team has owned so much of the first half and hasn't been able to get more points on the board.
3rd down and 15. Carlson is hit as he lets go, and the pass is incomplete. It was intended for Willie Drury, and Jim Morrissey nearly got to Carlson in time.
Well, this has been a short but long afternoon at the same time for Jeff Carlson. An introduction here by Morrissey as Carlson will bite the turf.
Mark Royals in to kick. That was the first incompletion of the game for Carlson. That sounds like good news, but it's not. And back deep is Anthony Morgan. Tried to short hop it. He's hemmed in. And Morgan, remember, took the place this week of Johnny Bailey as Carter and Mangum go at it a bit. The tackle was made by Anno. Remember, Johnny Bailey was the return man until this week. He had fumbled several punts in recent weeks.
Well, had some trouble last week, and Mike Ditka had said earlier in the week he wasn't going to take him out, but then finally made the decision, put Anthony Morgan back there and give him a chance.
Injured Tampa Bay player.
Oh, we've seen a lot of bucks on the ground today.
Well, you pointed out it's got to be a shock to go from 80-degree weather, practicing all week, to come into what for many players is the coldest they've ever seen.
Well, I think that's a problem, but I think the other thing that happens, losing teams tend to get hurt. Players tend to get hurt.
Timeout. We'll find out who the injured Buccaneer is when we return. These are the first half possessions. Not many plays resulting in fumble and 2 interceptions and a punt.
3 and out is the chant defensively, and boy, it has been that kind of day for the Bears defense, and you're right about the frustration offensively. They have done nothing.
1st and 10 on the 38. We'll bring you up to date on the injured Tampa Bay Buccaneer. And getting the handoff is Darren Lewis. That's Terry Anthony, number 85, who was shaken up, and now he's on the sideline. Gain of 2 yards for Darren Lewis. So each team has a rookie from Texas A&M running in their backfield right now. Robert Wilson for Tampa Bay and Darren Lewis for the Bears. Bears have to be concerned. Neil Anderson, they hope to get him back next week against the 49ers, but Brad Mustard's problems continue. He went out with a hip pointer, won't be back. 2nd down and 8 on the 40-yard line of Chicago. Here's Harbaugh. He's going to have to run, and he throws it to Green, who makes a fine catch, bobbled it, and is down. It'll be enough for a 1st down for the Bears, a gain of 15 yards.
Good peripheral vision by Harbaugh. It looked like he was going to scramble and run the ball himself, but as he approached the line of scrimmage, he flicked it to his left. They have not thrown the ball often today, but Harbaugh certainly has known where to send it. Look how many times they have run right up the middle against the Tampa Bay Bucs. 20 times for 84 yards. Well, we said they challenged them up the gut. They certainly have, and they have found the weakness.
Harbaugh now has completed 3 of 8 passes and a 1st down on the 45 of Tampa Bay. Play fake to Lewis. Harbaugh's going to run and wisely gets away from the on-rushing Broderick Thomas after gaining 2 yards.
Saw a little bit of Broderick Thomas on our pregame show, and you probably got a feeling for why he is disliked by these Bears. They said he better not do any of that pointing and mouthing off up here. This is our turf.
Well, in the first game between the teams, he accused Stan Thomas, the Bears' rookie offensive lineman, of a cheap shot. Well, Thomas can talk, but looks like he's going to be able to back a lot of that up.
Yeah, but he hasn't said much today. I haven't seen him pointing and yelling here today. I guess the Bears would just point at the scoreboard if he did.
Dennis Gentry now in the backfield. Jennings in motion. Gentry on the draw play. Slips and runs right into the arms of Jesse Solomon. Kevin Murphy there to meet him as well. And a gain of only 3.
Jesse Solomon in there. Eugene Marv had played that position in the middle earlier. One of the reasons Solomon is in there is that he played for Floyd Peters up at in Viking country, Minnesota, and is very familiar with this defense and very comfortable calling the defenses in there. A number of the Bears felt that Marv actually is a tougher linebacker to run at than Solomon.
3rd down and 5 for the Bears with 10 minutes and 10 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter. It is still 13-0 Chicago. Harbaugh to throw, and his pass is caught by Tom Waddle, and Waddle's got another 1st down. He is the only Bear to catch a pass in every game this year, and he picks up 15 yards with Roger Jones making the tackle as Terry Anthony is carried off. He's got a bad knee.
Waddle coming from the left side of your screen. Such a reliable receiver. I think the thing he does most interestingly, he makes all of his patterns look the same way as he heads downfield. Doesn't have great speed, but has incredibly good hands and great concentration.
2nd on the team in reception. Big game was against the Jets on national television earlier in the year. Play fake on 1st and 10 and loads of time. Time breaks down, and finally Ray Seals gets a sack. The 2nd sack of the game for Tampa Bay, and a big loss of 11 yards.
Seals has come off the injured list, back in the ball game today. Finally gets his name mentioned here. coming from the left-hand side, and pure and simple, a coverage sack for the Tampa Bay Bucks. Nowhere to go downfield.
Things haven't worked out for Floyd Peters and that defense as much as they intended this year, and in recent weeks the defense has plummeted.
They played very well early in the year. Peters told us when we talked to him earlier in the week, he said they have just found our weaknesses. And I think the other thing that's happened is they've just worn out. And of course, early in the year, they didn't get any help from the offense. Now the offense has come alive a little bit in earlier weeks. The defense has died.
Jim Harbaugh calls a timeout. Green bursting up the middle and a first down to the 5. Another 15-yard gain. Marty Carter and Carl Carter on the play. The Bears are just moving the ball at will against Tampa Bay today.
Hammered up the middle so many times. Just a simple little draw play. They're able to get Darrell Grant to move out of the way. Solomon moved out of the way. And at the end of that play, a number of the Bucks pointing at each other saying, "Why didn't you stop that play?" That's what happens on losing teams.
First and goal at the 5. And here is Lewis powering his way to the goal line, and no signal yet. Stopped short of the goal line. By the way, for Mark Green, this is his season's best effort. He has gained 63 yards and has scored a touchdown. Prior to this, his best performance was against the Colts when he gained 53 yards.
You got to remember that the Bears now are without Anderson, without Brad Muster, without James Thornton, without Mark Bortz. I mean, that is a huge amount of their firepower, and they're still moving the ball at will.
But this is Tampa Bay, and they've got the heavy artillery opponents coming up. It'll be second and goal on the 1. And they give us to Green, and he's got his second touchdown. Kevin Butler, and all eyes are on him because he has struggled today. Trying the extra point with Harbaugh holding. And this kick is perfect. And it's 20-0 in favor of the Bears.
Keith McCants comes from the backside and almost flies over the goal line right there. It looks like he lifts Mark Green up into the air.
Stop another missile in the air of scoring a touchdown.
Well, he has great speed on the backside. Here he is, left side of your screen, number 55. Look how quickly he closes, but I think he made a mistake, actually pushed Green into the end zone.
Gary Anderson on the kick. Still on his feet. And jumps out of the pack and brings it out to the 42-yard line in a return of 29, where Green, who just scored a touchdown, makes the stop. Tomorrow on the NFL Today, 12:30 Eastern, and the CBS doubleheader, Dallas at Philadelphia, big game. Detroit needs to win at Green Bay, and Minnesota, with slim hopes, hosts the LA Rams. In the second half of our doubleheader, the Giants play at Washington. Redskins have already controlled home field advantage, but that's a big rivalry. And Phoenix plays at Denver, and it all begins with the NFL Today at 12:30 Eastern, the last word before kickoff. First down on the 42-yard line, and Reggie Cobb up the middle. Maybe one of the best, if not the best, running plays of the game for the Buccaneers. Nearly has a first down.
They have not had much to cheer about, and because of the difficulty they've had throwing the ball, they don't have a lot of choices either. They've got to try and run the football, try and get something going here offensively.
Cobb has not had much of a chance today with only 8 rushing attempts. In the last 6 weeks, only Thurman Thomas, Barry Sanders, and Emmitt Smith have gained more yards than Reggie Cobb. Second down and less than a yard. And here's Gary Anderson in the backfield for the first time, and he does not get the first down, it appears.
Earlier in the ball game, we showed you how well the left side of this defensive line stretched things out. Here they're doing it again. Morrissey out there, Sean Gale out there, McMichael out there, Singletary out there. Look at those black shirts fight and nail Anderson as he hits the line of scrimmage.
Anderson stays in the lineup along with Robert Wilson in the backfield. 1st and 10 for the Buccaneers with 4:50 remaining in the third quarter. Carlson pass is incomplete. That pass sailed on him, and it was intended for Dawsey, and covering on the play with Lemuel Stinson. And we have a flag down at the line of scrimmage, and it's maybe a holding call against Tampa Bay.
Carlson doesn't have enough trouble with this wind. He's also trying to dodge Bears in there. They were all over him before he even had a chance to get set up on that last play.
Holding, number 62 on the offense, 10 yards, repeat, first down.
That's Ian Beckles, the right guard. A lot of rumors about the Tampa Bay coaching position, and of course Buddy Ryan openly is campaigning for it. There have been rumors about Bill Parcells, but there's a strong report that perhaps Parcells will end up in Green Bay with Ron Wolf, his friend, who's now running the team. Those are the list of the coaches in Tampa Bay's NFL history.
And that final tenure might be a short one.
Singletary is blitzing on 1st down and 20. They pick him up, and the pass is out to Gary Anderson. Anderson gets tripped up and may get back to the original line of scrimmage. A gain of 11 and a nifty bit of running by Anderson with Wolford making the stop.
Anderson's role has changed dramatically. Of course, used him last year as an every down back, and at 190 pounds, the pounding just told on him. He couldn't hold up the second half of the season. Blitzed on that last play by Mike Singletary. How many times have we seen that? Number 50, right up inside. They do a good job of picking him up. That's Tom McHale doing a good job on him, as well as Mayberry, the center.
Penalty marker down, and we may have a penalty on the offense. False start. It was a 2nd and 9 situation.
False start, number 72, offense, still 2nd down.
Rob Taylor, so the right side of the offensive line having its problems here in the third quarter.
Well, Taylor came into this game. They didn't know whether he'd be able to play today. Has a problem with his knee. Said he'd go if he could today. And when you're hurt, sometimes that takes part of your concentration. Makes it a little difficult for you to operate, especially if you're trying to get back quick on the pass rush.
Seton Hall leading St. Peter's in the second half. Don't forget, Duke and Michigan follow this game on CBS. 2nd down and 14 for Jeff Carlson. And his pass nearly intercepted by Lemuel Stinson, who has already intercepted one already. And Mark Carrier, the intended receiver. A rough outing for Jeff Carlson in his first NFL start. He's 2 for 6. And Vinny Testaverde did not make the trip with back spasms suffered on Tuesday.
Harbaugh apparently has a cut on his index finger. That is his throwing hand, and they're working on it on the sideline. Sometimes you get that off the helmet of the opposing players. Looks like he put a Band-Aid on it. I don't think that's going to stop Harbaugh.
3rd and 14. And the Bears will be storming in again on Carlson, you can be sure. And he's sacked from behind, and Richard Dent has another one. 2.5 sacks for Richard Dent. That's how many he had in their first meeting back in September.
One of the most difficult things to do for a young quarterback is read the coverage. And it's only a 4-man rush. They're studying here. Offensive line doing a good job of giving him time initially, but it all closed down. They sacked him at the end of the play.
4th sack of the game by the Bears, so Mark Royals will boot it away. He gets a low snap. The deep man is Morgan. Waddle is the short receiver. Morgan at the 9. He is hit and hit hard out of bounds at about the 15 by Robert Wilson. 43-yard kick. 20 make the playoffs with a win tomorrow against the Green Bay Packers. That may not be an easy task for the Lions used to the indoors. This was a scene just about a year ago this time a year ago. 2 degrees, minus 28 wind chill. coldest at Lambeau Field since the Ice Bowl, and it even looks like that when you look at the Packers on the sidelines. Detroit won the game 24-17, and Barry Sanders scored a touchdown. And they'll go at it tomorrow at Lambeau Field, where they expect a wind chill a lot worse than we have here.
Same weather. Looks like it's blowing north and cooling down even more.
Bears starting from the 15, and Mark Green with a great carry. He has really shown Mike Ditka something today and picks up 12 yards on that sprint with Marty Carter and William Frizzell to bring him down.
You have to take advantage of your opportunities. Mark Green getting a chance today because of Anderson being held out of this ball game and has made the most of it. Wojciechowski doing a good job on Ray Seals, number 98. Watch the way he hooks him to the inside. Good block by the halfback or the fullback there to spring Mark Green.
Johnny Bailey is in the lineup now along with Darren Lewis. He lost his punt returning job, but there he is. Number 22 on 1st and 10. And he gets the call on 1st down and gets good yardage up the middle. Good speed by Johnny Bailey and a 12-yard gain as we get down to 2 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. Keith McCants and Marty Carter that time.
Well, the Bears had fallen in their rushing average. It's the first time they've been below 4 yards a carry in recent memory. And today, they're going to beat that average up substantially. They have run it effectively all day long.
And Mike Ditka has used everyone in his arsenal out of necessity. That was only the 8th carry of the season for Bailey. Big rushing yard gain edged by the Bears. 1st down on the Chicago 38. Give again is to Bailey. And he gets a couple this time.
One of the pleasant surprises in the last couple of weeks, Keith Jennings. When James Thornton went down, of course, Cap Bozo out early in the year, they had to go and find an extra tight end. Jennings had been in Denver's training camp, and Dan Reeves recommended him to Mike Ditka. Mike brought him in, and Mike said, hey, we have been surprised, pleasantly surprised, by how well he's played. Not only caught the football, but has done a fine job of blocking as well.
He was a wide receiver at Clemson, but not at 250 pounds anymore. As he
very wide, a very wide receiver.
2nd down and 8 at the 40-yard line of the Bears. And Johnny Bailey with some speed again gets within a yard or so of 1st down territory. Making the tackle was Frizzell and Carter again. That's Marty Carter. Chicago Bears trying to sweep the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Keith Jennings going to be right here. Well, where is he? Coming in motion and then back out to the outside to get this block. As he comes inside, he simply turns back outside and then uses those 270 pounds to pick up the linebacker right there, Kevin Murphy, and drive him to the outside. They have done that effectively all day long.
And that'll do it for the 3rd quarter. That is the end of the 3rd quarter with the score. The Bears 20 and the Buccaneers making an early appearance. This is Dick Stockton along with Merlin Olsen. The Bears lead at 20-0. They have a 3rd down and 1 on the 47-yard line of the Bears. And the give is to Johnny Bailey, or Lewis carries. And let's see where they mark the ball. They may not have made it.
Tampa Bay Bucks had about 9 people up on the line of scrimmage for that one, as they brought an all-out blitz, filling every gap on the inside. Nowhere for Bailey to go.
Jesse Solomon and Gerald Nichols, especially Nichols there, and apparently it's 4th down, and Buford will come in to kick for the Bears. So Nichols makes the play, and it'll be Buford to punt. Keeping his hands warm there. Willie Drury is the deep man for the Bucs. It was a 1-point game when they met on the 2nd week of the season in Tampa Bay. The Bears won it 21-20. Line drive kick, and Drury's going to let it bounce, and the Bears will see it go out of bounds inside the 10. The AFC playoff picture is a lot clearer than the NFC. The division winners Buffalo, Houston, and Denver. Denver now has clinched a playoff berth. They haven't won the division outright, but they will be in the playoffs. Kansas City and the Raiders will as well. So it really comes down, Merlin, to Miami and the New York Jets, and they meet on the final week of the season.
And I think there's a consensus among those who watch the game that the strength level in the AFC has definitely improved in the past season. And some of these teams certainly able to hold their own against the very best of the NFC, more so than in the past.
First down from the 8-yard line for Carlson, and on the draw play, they give it to Reggie Cobb. He gets nothing. There's an important game on Monday night when the Saints go against the Raiders. Raiders having an outstanding year, still with a shot to win the division. And the Saints have lost 4 in a row. They are headed for the playoffs, but they looked like they were going to win their first division title a few weeks ago. They've dropped 4 straight. Second down and 8. Make it 2nd and 7. And Cobb again hemmed in. Trace Armstrong got to him first, and then Mike Singletary finished the job. No gain on the play. It'll be 3rd and 7.
You look at that scoreboard at 20 points and a 0 for Tampa Bay, and you wonder why they are running the football. Well, every time they've thrown the football today, ugly things have happened.
Also, they're in their own 10-yard line area. 3rd down and 7. Carlson dumps it off to Gary Anderson. And Anderson is going to be short of the first down by a good 4 yards. And that'll bring up 4th down. Donnell Wolford wouldn't allow Anderson to get more yardage. And the Bucs will kick it away. It's going to be tough for Mark Royals kicking from the goal line.
It's been strange today. You never can tell what that wind is going to do. It's very difficult to snap that ball as well as to kick it. We'll see how Sam Eno does with that job.
Anthony Morgan is back. And not a bad kick by Royals, really, considering the wind. Morgan on the hop. Make it Waddle, the short man. And Waddle will give the Bears good field position in Tampa Bay territory. Welcome, having a couple of extra days to get ready for their finale in the regular season, a Monday night game against the 49ers. And, of course, the importance of winning the division for Chicago is that they would now get a bye and would move to the divisional playoff on the 4th and 5th of January, and they need to get their walking wounded fixed up, including Brad Mustard.
Well, they're happy to have a couple of extra days to get ready for a Monday night game to finish the season off. That should help as well.
First down on the 46 of Tampa Bay, and a play fake. Harbaugh being chased, and the pass is incomplete. He was going for Mark Green out of the backfield, and Marty Carter was covering.
Bucs hurt last week by the Vikings with the bootleg action. Able to get it in for a touchdown, and not able to get out as free this time. And Harbaugh threw that ball into the hands of a Tampa Bay Buck on the sideline, but he was unable to control it.
If the Bears do not have a healthy Brad Muster, and if Neil Anderson doesn't come back from his hamstring problem, Chicago really could struggle in postseason. Mark Green and James Rouse in the backfield, and now they have one running back. It was Rouse to block for Harbaugh's pass. Incomplete again. Intended for Wendell Davis. They haven't gone his way today, and Ricky Reynolds was covering.
Dick, I think the one thing that they really have improved on this year is this man right here, Jim Harbaugh. Harbaugh has done such a good job of developing his passing skills and has helped them to win so many ball games during this year. In fact, every game they've won, he has had a touchdown pass, and I think that is certainly indicative of the kind of growth that Mike Ditka hoped he could get out of this young quarterback. And if they can get their running backs healthy, they now have the full package, the full complement.
3rd down and 10 at the 46-yard line. Harbaugh's pass, and it's caught. Complete to Wendell Davis. He has caught more passes than any wide receiver on the Bears since Dick Gordon. And that's 20 years ago. You got to go way back. Davis leading the team now with 55 receptions on the year.
He made a fine grab on that one. He had to turn around and come back outside to get his mitts on it.
Talking about the healthy backs, that's why Mike Ditka said to us yesterday, it's hard to run when you don't have healthy running backs. And you have seen this team really pass more than run this season. 1st and 10 on the 33 of Tampa Bay. Green with Rouse blocking and caught from behind by Keith McCants. Muster with a hip pointer left the game. What about the Bears' chances in postseason, Merlin?
I think a lot of it does just simply depend on who's healthy. If they've got everyone ready to go, if Muster can get back, and that hip pointer is not a serious injury, he should be able to come back from that. The hamstring part of it, that's a continuing worry. Neil Anderson should be ready to go. Thornton, I think he'll be ready to go. His ankle seems to be healing. Ankle and foot combination. But if they're healthy, they really are a lot better equipped for the playoffs than they were last year. They stumbled quickly last year, but they didn't have the passing ability that they have now.
2nd down and 9 on the 33. Harbaugh with a quick pass. He was going for Morgan. Crowd looking for a flag.
They got it.
Carl Carter defending on the play. And they will have it finally. Carter's done a good job throughout this game, but he'll be called for a pass interference here.
Pass interference, number 44 on the defense. 1st down.
It was interesting. Usually you talk to teams and you say, who are you going to try and pick on? They don't specify anyone. Well, he talked about Carl Carter, and they certainly have done it. You're right, Dick. He did what he had to do there. He knew it was going to be caught, so he took his man down.
Bears with a 1st down on the 24 of Tampa Bay. 20-0. Chicago in front. They're in the 4th quarter with 10:14 remaining. Harbaugh looking for a receiver. Has one. Pass is caught by Tom Waddle. And Waddle got free. And a gain of 15 yards and a 1st down inside the 10. Carl Carter defending.
Every quarterback has a receiver that he looks for after the pocket breaks down a little bit. And Waddle is that guy for Harbaugh. You notice him as he drifts left here. Waddle just continues to work. Looks outside, finds the open space, and there's the football. Excellent play by Waddle, and good job of throwing that football by Harbaugh.
Crowd yelling, Waddle, Waddle. He has become a big favorite, and his big show against the Jets started it all earlier in the year. And Harbaugh calls a timeout with 1st and goal at the 9-yard line. 9:19 remaining in the game.
Drive a Honda at your local dealer today. Head and Shoulders, because you never get a second chance to make a first impression. And by Hewlett-Packard LaserJet printers. They'll get you noticed.
Dick Stockton and Merlin Olsen back at Soldier Field on a big day for the Bears, looking to wrap up another playoff berth. Their 7th in 8 years. And coming up will be Duke against Michigan, NCAA basketball. And people talk about how dominant UNLV was last year. This is supposed to be a balanced year, but Duke may have head and shoulders above anyone else. Christian Laettner and up court, and Bobby Hurley in the backcourt. And Michigan with 3 outstanding freshmen coming up next from Ann Arbor, Michigan. 1st and goal for the Bears on the 9-yard line, following their 2nd timeout of this 2nd half. James Rouse and Johnny Bailey will be in the I formation. Now they split. And Rouse goes in motion. And the pass to Wendell Davis. Flag down, and they're going to call a Ricky Reynolds for pass interference, and that'll set up a 1st and goal at the 1.
And the Tampa Bay Bucks better be careful with what they're saying down there. They're going to get another penalty call. Well, one of the Bucks pointing back and saying it's against the offense. Let's let the officials sort it out.
Pass interference, number 29 on the defense. Automatic 1st down.
Tom Waddle going outside, Wendell Davis going inside, and clearly hit before the football arrived. Reynolds had great field position, but as the receiver went up, he turned back to the inside and just pushed him from the backside.
1st and goal at the 1-yard line. Bailey, second effort in for the score. 1st touchdown of the year for Bailey. Chicago Bears have been one shutout this year. They blanked Green Bay back on October 17th, 10-0. And that's what they're going to be playing for the rest of this game, as they're set for the playoffs and still hold the tiebreaker edge over the Lions for the division title. Kevin Butler with the extra point attempt. And it is now 27-0 in favor of the Bears. 9:13 to go, and everyone getting into the act for the Chicago Bears today. 27-0. Chicago now leading with 9:13 to go in the 4th.
Watch Keith Van Horn on this last play and listen. Ooh, Johnny Bailey. Sometimes you get hurt worse by your own players than you do by the opponents.
Jim Harbaugh, who had a cut finger, now putting some gauze over it. He has been there all the way, and he's trying to finish the year as an Iron Man. Start all 16 games for the Bears. First time that's been done in a decade.
Started 14 last year and finished the season on injured reserve with a shoulder problem, but came back very strong this year and has been able to survive it all.
Chris Gardocki will kick off for the Bears. Gary Anderson and Willie Drury are back deep for Tampa Bay. Going to be Drury at the 20-yard line. Looking for an opening and doesn't find much. And the tackle is made by Stonebreaker, the Notre Dame rookie. Tomorrow in the second half of our NFL doubleheader, the New York Giants against the Redskins. Giants have dominated the Redskins, and even though Washington has secured home field advantage for the playoffs and the Giants are out, they like to reverse that trend a little bit, and they'll battle at RFK Stadium.
It's been a long time since that game was as meaningless as this one for both those teams.
Yeah. Tomorrow it all begins with the NFL Today at 12:30 Eastern Time. First down on the Tampa Bay 33. Jeff Carlson all the way in his first NFL start. One he'd like to forget. Completes to Dawson. And Maurice Douglas drives him back, but his forward progress will give him a 6-yard gain. You know, the furthest advance by Tampa Bay offensively today has been the Bears' 46-yard line. Tampa Bay has only managed 4 first downs.
Well, defensively, this is the kind of day you enjoy, because when you go to watch the tapes, the meeting, it's only going to take you about a half an hour. There just aren't that many defensive plays.
2nd and 4 on the draw play. Reggie Cobb runs right into James Williams, and he's going to be 3 yards short of a first down.
Vince Tobin has done an outstanding job with this defense, and this defense has been a strength all year for the Bears. There is Tobin in the middle of your screen with the headset on and the hat pulled down over those ears to keep him warm.
3rd down and 3 coming up. Winding down to 8 minutes remaining in the game. And there's the deep pass, and it is caught by Mark Carrier, and he is stopped in his tracks by John Mangum. And that may be the biggest play of the day for Tampa Bay. It is 21 yards into Bears territory. They're running the hurry up now, trailing 27-0.
This is something that Tampa Bay did effectively last week against the Vikes, but it was Testaverde running the offense then, not Jeff Carlson.
Carlson up the middle, and the pass to Hall, the tight end, and it is ruled incomplete. Marcus Paul was defending.
Paul got there just as Ron Hall was trying to tuck it away.
Detroit Lions, who may be looking at this game, rue the day they lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this season, because that loss is the difference between the Bears having the tiebreaker edge against the Lions, as both teams 10-4 for the Central Division title.
Two footballs on the field. The officials getting rid of one. Only need one for the game, guys.
Second down and 10 at the Bears' 39-yard line. And the pass to Dawsey. He's got it. And that'll be close to a first down inside the 30. Maurice Douglas on the tackle.
With the wind at their backs, Bucs finally getting a little passing game going here. They certainly have not been able to do anything else. Maybe they can get at least a score on the board, make them feel a little better about themselves.
They're trailing by 27 points. First down, Jeff Carlson to throw again. He's got Dawsey. And Dawsey will be short of a first down by about a yard, and it was Douglas again on the tackle.
Talked to Lawrence Dawsey yesterday. He said very simply, on this season, I love playing, but I hate losing. Take a look at his numbers. Certainly a very strong candidate for Rookie of the Year. Saw a couple of the other contenders there.
He'll surely be on the all-rookie team. Charles McRae, the #1 draft pick, now at right tackle. Number 70, second down and 1 coming up. Carlson's pass is caught by Carrier. They've got the first down and stays in bounds with Mangum covering on the play. Gain of 3 yards. Buccaneers wins this year against the Philadelphia Eagles by 1 point and the Lions by 9. So they beat a couple of playoff teams, playoff hopefuls.
Jeff Carlson finally showing you a little snap and a little zip with that football, too. Finally getting something going, but a little bit late.
First down on the 16. Carlson going for Dawsey. And cat and mouse going on with Maurice Douglas as the pass fell behind Dawsey to bring up second down.
The Bears using this opportunity to give Dante Jones a little work in there. He's been sitting behind Mike Singletary now for 4 years and waiting for his opportunity. There he is. Of course, Singletary had originally thought that he would retire this year. Now his thinking is that he'll be back for at least one more, but he says yes, that's the last one. Definitely the last one next year.
Chris Zorich is also in, and Mike Ditka has emptied his bench defensively as the give is to Reggie Cobb. And I'm sure we're going to see Peter Tom Willis in at quarterback, and see no reason why Harbaugh will see any more action today, especially with that finger cut.
Yeah. It's a good opportunity for Mike to give his young players a chance. I think in this season we've become even more aware of how important backup strength is. If you look around the league right now, it's backups playing in a lot of key positions.
Third down and 6, and the pass to Hall, incomplete. He had it and dropped it. One of the better tight ends in the league. It was a good play by the Bucs, but instead it'll be fourth down coming up.
Ron Hall said this is a tight ends kind of day with the wind howling, the short passes. He found room down the middle, but just couldn't get his hands around that football.
Not an easy play looking at the replay, and the Buccaneers have called a timeout. They'll have fourth down and will try to dent the end zone here. And we'll take a break as well. It's been getting a little warm out there as Richard Williamson has the hood off. Complete. Carrier was defended by Wolford, and the Bears will take over on downs and still are blanking the Bucs today.
Just a follow-up to that thought on divisional play. The Bears have been toughest at home against their division opponents. Their record now will be at 30-7 and 4-0 this year.
Pretty impressive.
So they have done it in style here at Soldier Field.
Peter Tom Willis is the new quarterback. He's out of Florida State, has had to wait and be patient as Harbaugh has played the role of Iron Man this year.
Well, he said he had to wait 4 years to get his shot at Florida State.
He is 5 for 7 this season. Starts from the 12-yard line. And the give to Johnny Bailey. Penalty marker down. Bailey is hit at the 15. Pickup of 3 yards. Kevin Murphy holding against the Bears. Well, the Bears have trailed in 13 of 14 games coming into this one, but not today. They're looking to spin the shutout.
Holding, number 57 on the offense. Half the distance. Repeat, first down.
Tom Thayer. So it'll be first down and 15, or make it 16. 4:44 remaining in the game. Stan Thomas replaced Keith Van Horn at right tackle. The give is to Bailey. Good speed for Johnny Bailey. Broderick Thomas on the tackle after a 9-yard gain.
Lots and lots of room for those runners. Bears doing a good job of blocking, and Tampa Bay not doing a very good job of defending.
This game is presented by authority of the National Football League, and the CBS telecast is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of CBS, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Chicago Bears, and the National Football League is prohibited. Second down and 7. Ron Mattis now on the offensive line. Rest time for the starters. The pitch from Peter Tom Willis to Bailey. He's got nowhere to go. That'll bring up third down, a loss on a yard.
When we talked to Richard Williamson yesterday, he said, I like to stay positive with my team. I've tried to stay that way all year long, and he felt that they'd responded. They did last week. They played very well last week. I think it's going to be difficult to find much to be positive about today. I think the only thing we could say, it's been mercifully short as a football game. It's going to go down as maybe one of the shortest games all year.
Third down and 8 for the Bears with 3 minutes remaining. Pressure and a sack. That's Keith McCants as he gets Willis. A loss of 8 yards and the third sack of the game by Tampa Bay. Bears have had 4 of them, and Richard Dent, with another good appearance, now has taken over the leadership in that department with 10 on the year.
Cants with that outside speed, we've seen him use it several times, and that's one of the things that Tampa Bay does have, is a number of young players, but they have been the youngest team in the league for 4 consecutive years. That's not a good stat. You got to let your people grow.
Buford will kick. Drury is back deep. He'll get the ball in Bears territory. Ooh, high snap. Drury going to let it bounce, and it takes a Bear roll, and a good one. Look at that, inside the 35. Douglas says, how about a few more rotations? Well, the winning teams are the stable teams, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have been trying to patch and mix and match in recent years.
Well, and they just seem to move people in and out. 3-year-plus starters. Look on the Tampa Bay side first. 5. And on the other side for the Bears, well, you get the feeling. There are 12 on that side. And, of course, experience is the great premium in the NFL. You come in, you try and learn how to match up against the great players, and until you've played in this league a couple of years, you really can't do it.
Buccaneers with a first down on their own 33. They were looking at good field position But everything's rolling the Bears' way today. Carlson has a tip and nearly intercepted. It is an incompleted pass, and it was James Williams who got his hand on it.
Chris Zorich had a chance to pick that one up and carry it into the end zone. He's banging his head. He said, I had it in my hands. I had it in my hands. Watch this play develop. Zorich will come from the inside. He's going to end up with his hands on this football. Williams reaches up and knocks it away. And there, dropped right through the waiting arms of Chris Zorich.
Well, we're inching toward the end of this game, and the Chicago Bears have dominated, and Broderick Thomas wants to keep warm for the final 158. 2-minute warning. We'll return. We want to remind you, coming up tonight on CBS, a Hallmark Hall of Fame presentation. Caroline, starring Stephanie Zimbalist and Pamela Reed. That's followed by P.S. I Love You, all tonight on CBS. 2nd down and 10 on the 33-yard line of the Buccaneers. Bears looking for their second shutout of the year, and the pass is intercepted by David Tate. Tate still going. Still going. And the 4th turnover of the game.
Mark Carrier, the receiver, fell down on that play as Carlson was delivering that football, and Tate was waiting at the other end, and it has just been a disastrous day for the Bucs passing game.
3rd interception by the Bears. Tate with his 2nd of the season. Stinson picked one off, and so did Richard Dent. With 1:45 remaining. The only games in which the Bears did not trail in their first 15 of the regular season were against the Packers on October 17th, and today against the Buccaneers, heading for a shutout again. They blanked Green Bay back in that October Sunday. Peter Tom Willis pitches to Johnny Bailey, and he'll lose a couple. Keith McCants on the play. 2-yard loss.
I think you'll just see the clock run here. No sense in calling a timeout, although I have to tell you that in my rookie year, we were playing the Bears in Los Angeles. A similar situation, only we were down by 50 points. Less than a minute to go in the game, I called a timeout. And the other veterans came over and got a hold of me, and they said, who called this timeout? I'm trying to hide somewhere. They were going to kill me.
Wait a second. 50 points?
We were down 50 points, Dick.
You had nothing to do with that.
I had nothing to do with that, no.
2nd down and 12. Minute to go. Johnny Bailey again. Great cut by Johnny Bailey, and he's going to score, but there's a penalty marker down. And that may nullify this touchdown.
That's a shame, too, because a brilliant cutback move by Johnny Bailey. I think they're going to have a holding call. Yep, there it is.
That's going to wipe out one of the niftiest runs. You'll see. 22 yards for number 22, and they'll wipe it out.
Holding number 75 on the offense. 10 yards. Repeat 2nd down.
Harbaugh out to hand the play off audibly to Peter Tom Willis. One of the things that Mike Ditka's been able to do today is to find some extra running strength. Those backup running backs forced into action today have really played well. But again, your point well taken. This is Tampa Bay's defense, and they have been decimated by the run over the past 3 weeks.
Neil Anderson hopes to get back against the 49ers a week from Monday, but Brad Muster, who does so many things for the Bears in support of Anderson, and a great weapon in his own right, they need him back as well. 2nd down and 22, and here's Mark Green, who has scored 2 touchdowns today. And we have under a minute to play. Fullington on the tackle. Bears started the season with 4 straight wins. Then they lost 2 in a row to Buffalo and the Redskins. Then they ran off a 5-game winning streak before they lost to Miami and the Lions, and didn't look good in losing those 2 games before bouncing back against the Packers and now the Bucs today.
But hitting that flat spot in the season, they have come back strong, and that's what you want to do. You want to finish the season with a surge that carries you on into the playoffs. The Bears certainly showing that kind of surge here today.
3rd down and 17, and that'll be the last play. And most of all, the Bears want to bye. They want that extra week off before the divisional playoffs, and they may get it.
Well, the pressure now in Detroit as they line up tomorrow. And one more week for the Bears. If they win it next week, it doesn't matter what Detroit does.
Bears win it 27-0. The Lions still get into the playoffs with a win against the Packers, but Chicago wants first place in the division. And they're one step away. So that's the final score. The Bears beat the Buccaneers 27-0. And we'll be back from New York with Greg and Terry in our post-game show after these messages. Bears win, they go 11-4.